another one, which is going down a hill on a longboard, which... So, me and my friend Sergey, my good friend from last uh, ep- episode story, which I haven't hung out with him in a while, sending positive vibes to him. Hope he's doing swell. Completely froze for a second. I'm a cyborg and I completely froze. Okay, so going down a hill on a longboard. I used to longboard a lot, and it's kind of like a section of my life when I kind of forgot. You know, it's funny to think too, is because I had bad vision. It was basically the same vision I had right now without my glasses. Like, I can see things up close perfectly fine, but far away, forget it. Like, it's to the point where it's not like complete blurriness, where I'm gonna run into a wall or something, but I can't. Edge detection, no way. Reading things, no way. But it's to the point where I could drive fine, like where in my town at least, because I grew up in a single town my entire life and can basically drive there with my eyes closed. But driving other places, no way. So yeah, that's a part of this story that I completely forgot. I did this with my bad vision. Um, so so yeah, there was a point in time where I longboarded all the time, and me and my friend Sergey, we got really good. Like, to the point where we could go really fast down hills. We were perfectly fine. Yeah, we did some crazy, crazy stuff. Um, yeah, I still have my longboard as well. I don't know where it is, but I still have it, and it was nice. I loved longboarding, but now, but I'm not sure if this was the final straw or what. But basically, there's this supermarket near our house, and behind the supermarket is kind of like this walking trail, and we were longboarding to... Not sure what we were doing in this location or what, but we basically were just longboarding, and we haven't longboarded in this location before. And we saw this hill, and we were like, "You want to do this hill?" And we were like, "Yeah, sure." We don't know what's down there, anything. We know nothing about this location at all. We might have walked there once or twice, but we don't remember it all. So we just see this hill, and it's steep, like most hills. When you look at them, if you've ever gotten down a hill on your bike or any sort of vehicle that's not a car, you're always a lot of the time you look at the hill and you're like, yeah, it's not that steep, and then you start going down and you're like, holy crap, this is actually pretty steep. This is one of those hills where you looked at it and you're like, this is steep, without even having to go on it. And then, of course, when we actually went on it, we realized it was a lot more steep than we even thought. So this was one of the this is a spur of the moment thing. We were like, we literally probably just stopped at the top of it. We were like, you want to go down this? Didn't even barely even pause. Or like, yeah, let's go. Boom, boom, we go. I went. We both went in at the same time, but I was a little slightly ahead, and Sergey was behind me. And we go down, and we instantly catch crazy amount of speed, going, down this hill. And to our... Okay, so this is the first pickle that was thrown into this story. At the very bottom of this hill, and by the way, it's a walking trail. It is a concrete asphalt type trail, and it is probably about 9 feet wide or something, so pretty decently wide. A car could drive on it, but cars weren't allowed on it. and it was very dark. It was a very dark looking path. And, excuse me. So we're going down, and, and right when we get to the bottom, we realize that probably a 10 by 10 feet section of like right at the bottom of this hill was the walkway was broken up by roots going underneath the the path. So it wasn't like the roots were sticking out. The roots had pushed up the concrete, like you've seen, on the sidewalk or anywhere. So it was just like super bumpy immediately. So I don't know. I it was probably luck, but I basically got my balance and rode through it perfectly. And I was like, heck yeah, and screaming back to Sergey. And at this point, I thought he was behind me, but he wiped out there. Which lucky to him. So I'm going down this probably about, 30 yards. I'm cruising. So it's basically, this is the point. This is the trail to our understanding to this point. Giant cliff, and this steep hill was probably, it wasn't long. It was probably like 25 feet of a little dip. So it was like, boom, dip, gain a lot of speed, over the bumps, 10 feet of bumps, and then smooth sailing for about 30 yards. So it was about, probably about 20 yards of straight, and then 10 yards of a little hill, and then right at the bottom of this little hill was a curve to the left. I'm like, okay, crap, we do curves like this all the time. It was dang near a 90-degree turn. It was a 90-degree turn, but it wasn't like a direct angle. It was curved. So I was like, okay, this is fine. I do this all the time. We do turns like this all the time. And man, talk about unlucky. I'm going down. I'm hitting the apex of it. If you're not familiar with the apex, then don't worry about it. I'm hitting the turn perfectly, and just incredibly unlucky. And it was a turn where you couldn't see around the corner. Basically, long story short, is I've got crazy amount of speed, hitting the apex of the turn. I see around the corner, and boom, there's an entire family. There's a mom, a dad, and a child. And I think they had a dog too. I'm like, oh God, I have to wipe out right here. So this is going to be hard to explain. So kind of envision with me. I'm going down this hill. It's a left-hand turn, very sharp turn. And it's like a turn where right after the hill, you have to turn immediately. So it's down, after you go down the dip, you have to turn immediately. And to the left, it's a bunch of trees, so you can't see around the turn. So I had, in a split second, as soon as I was able to see the family, instead of turning left, I just had to go straight, right off of the turn. And sadly, there was probably a 10-foot cliff there, but it was filled with very thick, those thick, really tall, thin trees. And I was wearing sunglasses as well, which might have helped. But basically, long story short, as I went straight off, instead of turning left, I went straight off that turn, and basically directly hit a tree right to the dome. Boom, tree to the dome, slid down. My glasses broke. I actually completely forgot I had glasses on. I got out, I grabbed my board, and I climbed up the hill, and it was like a family that didn't even speak English. They were Hispanic. And I'm like, oh, whoa. And I climb out, I'm like, whoa. And they're like, I think they didn't even give a crap, honestly. It seemed like it. They were like, they basically were like, "You okay?" And then just kept walking. I'm like, "Yeah, thanks a lot." And basically my injury was um was my face was just scratched. It wasn't even that bad. I just had scratches like right here, like right along the eye, like the tree probably just hit to the left of my eye, and and then that was probably it. And then I just slid down the little bit of hill, and Sergey probably he came down the hill afterwards, and I was like disoriented, and he probably looked super funny to him. Um, Man, that was, and I completely left my sunglasses. I completely forgot about them. And it was funny, me and Sergey went back a few months later because I'm like, I'm pretty sure I lost my sunglasses there. We went back, we grabbed them, and they were there. It's funny. Um, and the sunglasses were perfectly fine. I took them, I continued to wear them for a while after that. So, I know a lot of people were like, "Oh, you couldn't have died from that." I'm just saying. Basically, what I'm saying is just all my injuries that. And I'm not even saying all my injuries. I'm just saying all the injuries that could have gone very, very south.